Get ready for hot takes and insight from local industry experts in real estate, business, and lifestyle. He used to play ball with the Padres. He played hockey for the Lobos. Now they're crushing it in the real estate game. Together, they'll showcase the best of the Duke City. This is All About You, ABQ.
Oh, hey, didn't see you there.
Are we filming today, or are we just going to have Lunchables?
Dude, can you believe it? It's
Another season.
Season 5, feeling alive.
Another one.
This is All About You, ABQ. Now, the goal of the show is to highlight the best of our city's industry experts in real estate, culture, and lifestyle so that you walk away with some value and feeling inspired. The way we like to do that is to answer the questions you may have or interview the guests you want to see. So we invite you to join the conversation. You can reach out on social media up here or join our email list to get some timely tips about our community and real estate market. Hey, I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, home loan expert.
You probably know Grant as the head coach of the University of New Mexico men's Lobo hockey team. Now he's absolutely crushing it in the mortgage space.
Where have we seen this guy? HGTV's House Hunters, or is it part of the top 2% producing real estate agents in the world? City.
Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined by Jesse Herron, the owner of the painted Lady Bed and Brew here in Albuquerque. Got a cool backstory about starting businesses, multiple businesses here in Albuquerque, getting ahead and kind of giving back to the community. So.
Another think outside the box type of business that we're anxious. I think Albuquerque is such a hotbed for weirdos and weirdness, and we love that, and we love atypical businesses that kind of do things different and separate us from the pack.
It's season 5, dude. You're probably wondering why we have such great light effects. It's because we've got some new sponsors behind us.
Your hair's under control.
Yeah.
Our pets' heads aren't falling off.
So it's going to be a good show. Obviously, stay tuned to the end of the show. It's everybody's favorite Skip's Tips.
We better have that sound effect queued up one of these days. Mark already forgot about us.
Grant, dude, we had last week off for the end of season 4. Season 5, we're rolling along. Dude, what have you been up to, man?
Yeah, I did an open house. Man, I should have sent those pictures up. Did an open house in Santa Fe, a mecca of plant life there. So the key in Santa Fe is to actually have your public water for inside and your well water to plant these whatever you want out there. But Santa Fe has these pockets that established neighborhoods, trees probably 80, 90 years old, and you just can't beat that, right? My favorite part of the city is near UNM and Albuquerque Country Club area. And the reason why, the trees add some, depth and sophistication. They tower over the streets, and it's what a neat thing to go through.
Growing up, we kind of grew up in the university area, and we had big trees outside of our house as well. And I remember a couple of things that suck about them. Number 1, guess who gets to clean up the leaves? Yeah. Number 2 is the homes in those areas not only have old trees, but they also have old pipes. Mm-hmm. And those big tree roots find their way into the old pipes. And so we would have these disasters. As a kid, I remember running in and having to turn off the water because it's just going everywhere or whatever. But yeah, it definitely adds some depth and some shade during the summertime, especially when we get into the hundreds.
I forget it, but the trees always have to be planted 7,000 feet away. But they still end up getting there. You just delay when the trees go, thank you for all the water. And then you have Home Alone incidents where the water goes through the toilet.
No, aside from big trees, I mean, it's wild. There's Albuquerque and Santa Fe too, especially. We're surrounded by mountains and open space. Yeah. And with that comes wild animals. And people forget, you'll see coyotes and stuff like that. But here we go, something that was recently captured right up in our neighborhood on Spain and Tramway, a big cat mountain lion. So he's just chilling out in the neighborhood, basically, and they had to trank him and haul him out. But I thought that was a cool picture. And so it's not just, jackrabbits and a couple coyotes, man. You get some big cats.
What's kind of funny about being that they're in the cat family, the walls that we have up are the same walls they can scale plus more. I mean, they are in the cat family. The bobcats can get over them too. So if your standard house cat can get over that wall, so can these guys, I guess. So
yeah, they're nimble, man. And I can imagine it's like a 120-pound cat, something like that. That thing would destroy you. We always go hiking up in, outside our house in the open space. And during the winter time, sometimes it's like when things are covered in snow and you see random pop-ups.
Yeah,
you're like,
very, very, very evident that someone was gracing your presence and chose not to
alone.
Yeah.
Yeah, dude, that's for sure.
But you like it up there, right? You like the scorpions that your alarm. Hey, it's time to get up. The scorpion bit my leg. Stung you.
No, but real estate nationwide we're in a little bit of a transition in our market, starting to see some more inventory. But I think what's got the national headlines is commercial space. And ever since the pandemic, what we found is that there's a ton of vacant commercial space. And Mark, I appreciate you always going picture in picture, man. We're crushing it. But no, I want to talk to so check out this study. So more than 1 billion square feet of U.S. office space has been deemed viable for residential conversion.
That's huge.
So we've been talking about it here locally, but also nationwide. I mean, especially on the East Coast, New York, you see these massive skyscrapers empty. And so companies have been going around figuring out what it would cost to convert them to ease the housing crisis.
And the reason why I think this is important is I think that what we consider precious real estate or land parcels are already, they're occupied by business. Now imagine going, hey, what if I gave you access? What if you have a chance to get a premium lot that was once occupied and no longer, wasn't deemed residential? Now you get into a new, era of housing that's only freed up by people going to work at home and COVID proving that your workplace can be at home.
How funny would that be if your office sent you home for COVID and then that office was converted to a house and you bought that house and now you had to work from home in your office?
That would be weird though. I wouldn't want to go back to any of the places I worked at.
Yeah, having to do TPS reports in your pajamas. Okay, so here's a couple interesting stats. Let's see. Office values and current market pricing will be major considerations whether or not these conversions can take place. But the average sales price of an office building is down about 40% from 2021. Through the end of July this year, $17 billion in office sales were recorded nationally, about $173 a square foot. But locally, what does that mean? There's a couple of big conversion projects taking place locally, and everybody knows. Yeah, everybody knows these.
That's fantastic.
These two icons in Uptown area, Central and San Mateo. So this project, it aims to transform the two former Park Central towers, the 10-story building, into 101 apartment units.
Yeah.
Ranging from 650 to 1,000 square feet.
That's something else.
And this one will have over 300 new units for Albuquerque families.
I stayed at, I forgot what it was called. I stayed at a place off of 10th Street where the doghouse is, 10th Street and Central, and they were like, yeah, it's one of the few sky rises that's in there. Well, this is a true sky rise. You know what I mean? That's pretty cool. Now you actually get to see something that has some towering effects and you could see citywide. That's funny that it inadvertently is going to become the skyscraper tower condos or apartments.
Yeah, we'll see what the price point looks like.
I would love to see what they open it up as.
I would love to go in it right now. As a kid, I've always wondered what goes on in those buildings.
I would huff so much asbestos to just get over it.
Talk about the cost to remediate.
I was, Jared and I, my old captain, we went and watched Oilers Avalanche game, and we were in a hotel that was converted from an old classroom setting, and it was kind of neat. You could kind of picture where things were, but the hallways were really neat, and they kept some of the school fixtures, kind of like the old Albuquerque High School. There's something, I like the history behind that, and if you show the pictures, and kind of weird that I was telling Jared, I go, I bet you someone just got aired out for copying homework and stuff, and you just go, it's just nuts to see this thing with so much sophistication and history that were amongst the classroom. But you could tell, but it added to the allure.
Yeah. That'd be cool if they had the old pencil sharpener still installed.
Yeah.
You could go take a break and stand in the corner.
You remember you never needed your pencil sharpened, but that thing's wearing out at a high pace, and you just go finally to get up, or your third grade babe.
That's the equivalent of a elementary school smoke break. You got to go sharpen the pencil.
And you see the guy roaring through it, just showing off, look how strong I am, ringing the alarm. Yeah.
The real estate market, man, in a little bit of a transition, a lot of inventory up right now, and we're seeing homes, a lot of cancellations of listings. We're seeing homes sit on the market, and so we're curious, good time for buyers.
There's got to be some timeline we learn, and I think we'll always have this now as a time and a year to archive. Remember when that happened? Because I feel like we've seen a lot of conditions in real estate. This is probably one of the first times where people have sat this long, and now the dam's about to break, where people go, I can't take it anymore. They try to wait out the market, and I think a lot of people try to wait out interest rates, and sellers try to wait out interest rates so then they could, take advantage of lower interest rates when they switch. But people by now are getting antsy, and I think they may succumb to what interest rates are now, and maybe they don't have the freedom that they used to, or like they don't hold the upper hand. Because if everyone's waiting, buyers essentially, some of them cannot go put money forth in the house. So then, if there's more inventory, the likelihood of the buyer market maybe coming back. But again, now we're really insulated in this city. We don't reach national trends, but I think everyone had a Mexican standoff stare down, and the buyers are winning because they can't possibly get in these houses.
Well, death, divorce, diamonds, diplomas, sellers have to sell for those reasons, right? Families growing and shrinking, or divorce, marriage, whatever it is. So there's always going to be more inventory coming on the market, and so we're starting to see a little bit of a buildup.
And people are actually, I did a few refinances where it actually made sense for people to do a cash out loan, because overall they were owing more money on paper, and so they had to forego a little bit of a good interest rate, saying, well, overall my household expenses have gone down, and paying off credit cards is always a better route. If you're paying with 6.5% or 7%, it's better than paying 29. I think interest rates are like 29%. That's where the Fed rate affects you. So
that's always the common misconception. What other things are kind of busting your bubble?
Yeah. You know what really tans my hide? It's time for some Grant's Rants. Okay, so I want to get into sayings that I don't quite know where they came from, or they're not applicable. I'll start with this one. I'm sure you guys can all relate. You're sitting in front of your boss, or you're having a meeting, and someone says, hey, I don't mean to get on my soapbox, or I'll get off my soapbox, and it's like, no. Bring that soapbox up here. Does a speech sound better from there? Who's discouraging the soapbox? I would love for a guy to go in a meeting room and be lugging around this thing. What's that? That's my soapbox. All right, Johnny, thanks for finally bringing a soapbox. Get up there and let's talk. Anyone discouraging the soapbox, please don't let it be. I want to see this happen. I think the presidents, their debates should be on a soapbox, and then we see who can actually deliver the biggest punch. Let's talk about the elephant in the room. This is not really relatable. The only people that probably could relate to are maybe like circus guys that are like fighting for more wages, and they gather around. They're like, hey, we should be getting $10 an hour. Hey, Ernie, the elephant's in the room. Don't say anything. Maybe that's the only people that can relate to the elephant in the room and don't talk about it. I would. The elephant comes storming in there. I wouldn't discourage Skip from going, hey, we might get trampled. Skip, let's talk about the elephant in the room. Is it going to kill us? What's it doing here? That's something worth discussing. What about burning the candle at both ends? Did candles used to be able to be burnt at both ends? And someone says, hey, look at the light that's coming out of them. The other guy goes, it's shortening the age of this candle, right? Yeah, it may not be worth it to light it on the other end. We can't relate to candle to both ends. It never was available to us. Maybe we do like the candle burn at both ends. So here's one that you can relate to. The borrowing from Peter to pay Paul. And I can imagine being in a room and this guy goes up to Peter and says, hey man, I need to borrow $300, got hospital bills. And Peter's like, okay man, I'll lend it to you. You're a nice guy. Then the guy turns around, hey Paul, here's $300 for the loan that you gave me last week. And Peter's like, hey man, I thought you said for hospital bills. And then Paul's like, he turns to Paul and he goes, hey, sometimes you got to lie to get the things you want. That would be relatable, okay? Don't borrow money from another person just to pay another guy back, because then you're in the hole again. That's applicable, and that's the end of my Grant's Rants. I went way over time, but I feel like that one was worth really getting into.
Here's where you're going to want to stay tuned. We're joined in studio by Jesse Herron, the owner of the Painted Lady Bed and Brew. Yeah. I'm going to find out if they sell beds by the hour, have a few IPAs, take a little nap in between lunch.
I'm going to find out if Country Dan's actually sells mattresses.
Stay tuned. We're answering the hard-hitting
important questions that channel something doesn't want to answer.
This is all about you, ABQ. Stay tuned.
Season 5.
Welcome back to UABQ. I'm Skip Adams, owner of Sold by Skip Real Estate Brokerage here in Albuquerque.
Grant Harvey, home loan expert.
We're joined by Jesse Herron, the owner of Painted Lady Bed and Brew and Tour ABQ. God, I just love all this Albuquerque connection. Yeah. Jesse, welcome to the show, man.
Yeah, thanks guys.
What I like about you, and this is kind of what our show is about, is just highlighting homegrown kids that are, stayed in Albuquerque, started a business, making a difference. Give me a little bit of your backstory.
Well, I grew up here. My dad was actually the official scorer for the Albuquerque Dukes, so I kind of grew up at the sports stadium in the press box. You know, I remember going down the field when Mike Piazza was a Duke when he was playing, and, you know, tossing him balls and getting his autograph and stuff. And then from that, you know, my dad always had a job in sports, so he was working Lobo games in the pit. So I'd be down the court floor as a ball boy, you know, mopping up sweat and blood with like a dirty T-shirt. And then from there, I just, you know, stayed local, went to UNM, graduated from El Dorado High School, then went to UNM, and just kind of always had a passion for Albuquerque and felt it was like kind of my duty to be an ambassador for the city and to promote it.
Did you ever leave the state lines?
No, I did a summer internship in Mexico at a resort in grad school, but that was it. You know, I couldn't wait to come back.
This is a different story, and sometimes you can appreciate the guy that says, "This is my place, and I'm going to carry on, stay the course."
Tell me a little bit about when you were the ball boy for the Lobos, like basketball team, right?
Yeah.
So because we're relatively the same age, and so when I remember as a kid, Luke Longley. How tall is Luke Longley?
I mean, I think he was 7'4".
And Rob
Robbins, 3-point. I mean, all those guys. That's the whole era I grew up. I couldn't name a Lobo now, but I can name like all those
Remember,
guys.
like
From the 90s.
Craig Brown, the amazing dribbler.
Oh, Greg Brown.
Harvey Jackson.
I mean,
No, I just remember because I always tell this story, but I was like 5 years old or whatever it was. And I ran into Luke Longley at the grocery store, and I just remember. I mean, look, you're 6'4", but I looked up at
he's
him
a
like,
giant.
what is
Skip
this?
has always looked up to him.
Yeah. So Luke Longley, if you're out there, write me a letter. No, I'm just kidding. But so yeah, okay, that's great. So born and raised Albuquerque, started a couple of businesses, and very interesting businesses, and that's kind of not just your average. Like, I just started a restaurant with some buddies. I mean, you started out on your own. What the hell is the Painted Lady?
Yeah, so Painted Lady. So basically, Painted Lady was a term used for prostitutes from the 1800s because back then proper women didn't wear makeup. So the building is set in a former brothel.
Finally, the rejuvenation.
Yeah, bringing it back. But so it's a term that references the property's past. So it used to be an old saloon and brothel, and I was just living on the west side for many years. And then just felt disconnected from the culture and
there is no culture on the west side. He
says that because he's trash talking because I live out there and he thinks that he's embraced. He has a lowrider in the Heights, I guess, according to him.
But I was looking to come back to like this part of town and just kind of reconnect with the city. I just felt real alone out there. And ended up finding this property that was on the market for a couple of years. It was vacant, basically.
What year was this?
This was 2013 that I saw it and bought it early 2014. But I mean, it looked like the neighborhood eyesore. So you would have had no idea that it was historic. It was chain link fence with the goat head weaves like spilling out onto the sidewalk and bars on the windows and doors, and honestly it looked like a tear down. And then we started doing some research into it, and it turned out it used to be this old saloon and brothel that both of the kids stayed at, Pat Garrett.
Talk about the location of town that it's in, because it's outside of Sawmill, it's outside of downtown, it's kind of in the outskirts, but
yeah, it's in Wells Park, which is home to half a dozen breweries, production breweries. So if you know where like Golden Crown and Cocina Azul is, we're like just a stone's throw from there. So right off 12th Street, you can see our marquee. And we have a trolley car, an old Albuquerque trolley car from the 90s that serves as our tap room for the Bed and Brew that you can see right there from the road.
So historically in Albuquerque, why would there be, back in the day, why would there be painted ladies in this part of Albuquerque? What was this part of Albuquerque?
So this obviously, downtown became Newtown in 1880 when the railroad came. So, the red light district was right down here after it moved from Old Town. So, right where the Clyde Hotel is, where the Hyatt used to be, like that, right there on Gold Avenue, and to Harrison Copper Avenue. That's where like what we called Hell's Half Acre. But the Bed and Brew was right across from the original sawmill. So in 1903, the American Lumber Company built the sawmill right across the street from the property, and back then 12th Street actually dead-ended right at the entrance. So I've got old photos of the property. And it's like, here's the property, and then 30 feet across the street, you have this blue-collar workforce.
The sawmill, like, it's quitting time. Hi, Brenda.
Yeah, and it was at a time in our city's history where there's probably 10 guys to every single lady, so I think that place was
feels like that now.
Popping.
It's increased since.
If you're trying to date, sure, it does.
Yeah, single life. Okay, so that's fantastic. So it's almost like you stumbled on a hidden gem in a fantastic location.
Yes.
And then now it's grown into something that, I mean, look, you're on the news, you're getting people, from all over the world coming to come and stay there. Yeah. Talk a little bit about the idea of a Bed and Brews.
Everybody just it felt like 10 years ago everybody had an Airbnb, and I didn't want to do the whole traditional Airbnb. It felt like everybody had one, so I wanted to do something that was unique. But I don't know how to cook. I don't usually eat breakfast. I kind of sleep right through it, so I didn't want to, there's only so many options. And one day I was like, well, maybe a bed and brew was a thing because I was always into craft beer. And I Googled it, and it was a thing. There's like maybe 30 in the U.S., and I was like, oh, well, we don't have anything like this in New Mexico. And back then, the only brewery that was nearby was Marble, and then Tractor opened like that same year. And
Okay,
now
that's a clean unit. We're looking at your pictures on here now.
Yeah.
I think there's a big demographic of me and yous out there where I feel like breakfast is a negligible meal, and then it would be nice. Skip likes to drink Bud Lights a lot of times on vacation for his breakfast, so you're speaking to a lot of people here.
Yeah,
there you go.
Covering a lot of bases. So how many rooms are in the Bed and Brew?
There's 4 total. So they're all the original, 3 of them are the original like brothel, like sleeping rooms, and the other one is the old saloon.
That's
so
cool.
4 total, they're all like little apartments. So full on refrigerator, oven,
I like that.
everything.
Is there anywhere that kind of tells this story without you telling the stories?
Website.
Okay.
Yeah, just breakfast is
Well,
overrated.
so within the room, do you have anything that says, hey, this is one something? You have
Here's where Pat Garrett
You just have a
stayed.
scroll that comes down like a window shade? Okay.
Well, I spent a long time researching and putting together like a welcome booklet in the room that really gives you a sense of place because it's very authentically
That's so cool.
Albuquerque.
What is it? Tell me about this.
This is our website right here. It says
I
our
love it,
blog.
dude. That's
so
great.
These are some of the beers.
That's captivating.
That we've brewed there using the magic of
That's
AI.
really cool.
So and just we were on Ghost Adventures in 2020. 4 years
That's a
ago.
clean
almost to the day.
website. That's a very nice website, right? It's conducive
Yeah.
to people clicking on stuff.
Yeah, so the rooms have, it's a real strong sense of history. There's little QR codes throughout the rooms that allude to here's where, there's blood stains on the floor in certain rooms. There's weird stuff throughout. So
Just like my house again, a lot of commonalities. Blood stains everywhere. Can't get them out. What did you use? Don't use Ajax, it'll stain you. So tell me, what are the price ranges of these rooms?
It kind of depends on weekday versus weekend, but like $199 to $244 basically, and it includes complimentary beer during what we call hoppy hour. So we get 3 beer.
Yeah, I see what he did.
Yeah.
Do you ignorant question, you guys brew beer on site, or you're just
We do. We
pull
just
it?
started this past January. We've acquired a bed and breakfast or a small brewer's license many years ago, and finally we're actually brewing our own beer.
Are you allowed to serve hard alcohol, or is it something you even want to indulge?
I haven't. Yeah, just because no, we're just beer and wine, mostly beer though. We have hard cider, hard seltzer. But
Is it like an Everclear room? Hey, come over here if you really want to black out in 13 seconds. I got somewhere.
You bring your own. The law treats the hotel room as an extension of your own property, so you can bring in pretty much whatever you want.
Okay.
I mean, maybe edit that part out because I don't want people coming in with just whatever.
Yeah.
But whatever's legal is
Okay.
Okay, so let me get this straight. So we can go in, and so I don't have to stay at the place. I can just pop in and try some of the beers. There's like a tasting
you
room.
can. We just started that recently. We opened it up kind of to the locals because they don't want to do a staycation or actually commit to staying the night. So during our hoppy hour, which begins at 5:05 in the trolley car, so we have an old Albuquerque, last one of its kind, 96 model, used to do a loop from the convention center to the Old Town Plaza.
Yeah.
We've got it, we've retrofitted it into a standalone tap room. And you can come, make a little reservation online on our website for free so we know you're showing up, and you can have our beer and local beers.
I mean, what a cool concept, man. That's so great. So as a small business owner, especially a B&B, we're kind of talking about how difficult it is to get the word out, and it is all word of mouth and coming on shows like ours and kind of promoting it. But I would imagine you rely heavily on, TripAdvisor and these big national websites. What are some of the wildest, TripAdvisor is like Yelp. Only assholes go on and like actually leave reviews or like talk shit. But do you ever get people just blasting you on TripAdvisor?
No, luckily
been
everything's been mostly 5-star. If I get a 4-star review, I'm like really kind of hurt. But no, it's been great. But I feel like the most pure of all the review sites is just Google because it's simple. They're not charging us for reviews or
organic.
posting photos. Like you go on Yelp or TripAdvisor, like forget which one it was. You had to pay a monthly fee to just have your logo on there, which is ridiculous.
That's always strange. I do feel like, and this is a sociological experiment, but don't you feel like people are more inclined to say negative things? So it speaks volumes for you, because people don't go, I had such a good time, jovial, it was a great host, and people go, you know what, that really makes me mad. I saw, one of the pillowcases, was yellow and didn't match the walls. Those are the type of unreasonable people that really go at you. So, man, you were unscathed, which means you're really doing well.
It's been great because I think a lot of people, I'll meet all the overnight guests in the trolley car and they're drinking a beer, which it's just more conducive than like sharing breakfast with strangers. So everyone's in generally good mood.
Everyone's lubricated.
Yeah.
And the experience, right? You get in a hotel, I think you can always start at 100 and work your way down as expectations there, but I think the experience is what you're providing where someone couldn't come away and going, I was laughing the whole time, but I didn't like this. You're offering something different, and so the novelty is probably long lasting and the sentiment's always positive. That's great.
No, exactly. And I think they feel like they can really see that it's a lot of love went into it, and they're meeting me and they're saying that I made these beers, and so I don't even ask. We send a follow-up email asking for a review, but it's not, I don't badger them or ask. It's just they do it. The ones that do it and they're posting photos, and it's great.
And the antithesis of what people normally do, they had such a good time. It was I guess an anomaly for them to feel that good and post. Let's touch on something else before we forget. Sure. You have another business endeavor that I think also embraces visiting the city.
Yeah, I mean, all the businesses are all just about promoting Albuquerque, basically. Yeah. So Mike Silva, my business partner for Tour ABQ, he has Rude Boy Cookies as his side project, as I have the Bed and Brew. But we started ABQ Trolley Co. back in 2009. It's been 15 years. Yeah. We've now rebranded as Tour ABQ. We have the Duke City Peddler, which is a 14-person party bike that cruises through the Old Town area and does a little pub crawl, and Albuquerque Ghost Walk, and ABQ in a box. We've got a whole thing.
How in the hell do you start so many? What I like about you is informative, but also education about our city, our history, and you haunted walking tours, stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I think that's cool. That gives back more, I think, to the city and people that are visiting.
You know what? I think the tourists might be privy to more things sometimes than we are, right? They go on. I don't think we're inventive enough or have any creativity to go, what should we do here? Usually the people that are residents sometimes know the least amount of what a city offers because they're so resigned to the same old and don't explore. And shout out to Mike Silva. And I didn't know, thank you too. You guys have given the Lobo hockey team at their golf tournament this voucher that lets everyone that had won, usually that first place pick out their prize. They always pick this. It's a kind of a neat thing that no one has done in this city. And so again, thank you. That was very nice of you. And shout out to Mike Silva. And I've helped him out a lot of times, and he helped me back with hosting things at Rude Boy Cookies. So you guys are. So let's talk about the ghost tour though, and where it's at and how
Yeah, so the ghost tour is called Albuquerque Ghost Walk. Okay. We've been doing it for 10 years now. It started on the trolley. Our first years around Halloween time as a trolley of terror, and we would go around the city and do a haunted tour. And then we created our own standalone ghost walking tour that was downtown, and it's had several iterations. And now it's about to move back onto the trolley as our main tour guide, Jordan Jonas. I don't know if you know Jordan, but he's amateur.
Should we bring him on?
You should, dude. He's about to move to Chicago in a couple of weeks, but he is like a magician. He's a professional weirdo.
That's my favorite.
He just had a sold-out magic show at Painted Lady 2 weeks ago, and his final farewell performance.
No.
But so he's resigning and moving away, so we're moving that from a walking tour in Old Town to going back on the trolley, and it'll feature Painted Lady, and people can come in and grab a beer while they're hearing about the history and ghost stories, and it's going to go to Chemo Theater downtown and the old Bernalillo County Courthouse, Mount Calvary Cemetery. So not just where you can walk to, it's going to cover some ground on the trolley. We have some TV screens on the trolley, so it has a multimedia experience where you're seeing old historic photos of Old Town and where they used to do hangings, news clips from the Chemo Theater about, the ghost of Bobby Darnall. So it's we had a cleansing of the Bed and Brew because we were haunted, and I had these people come in. No, it didn't. It did for a little bit, But I have, video of them doing this like demon trap thing to try to remove a spirit. So we have video of that you get to see as you're approaching the property. So it's a cool multimedia thing.
People love that stuff, and it's funny. Here you are going, "Hey, expel it, get rid of it," and there's people going to Apothecary, right? They're going towards the ghosts. Only this time in history where people go, "No, I want to go," and people are fleeing the 1800s. No, don't do it. Rip your arms apart. No, I want my arms ripped apart. How much can I pay?
What are you talking about?
Ghosts.
No, it's a thing, like paranormal tourism.
Yeah, exactly. Tell Skip about that. His arms are still intact, so he's.
I can't relate.
Yeah.
But everybody has a ghost story, right? So one of the things we've been doing at the Bed and Brew to try to get locals down there now that we have our own beer is this Brews and Booze event series. So the third Friday of each month, we have something called Fright Night Open Mic. And the idea is you come down there, it's a free event, and you share your ghost story.
Yeah, you ready to learn something?
Oh,
You're naysayer, scoffing at ghosts.
Leave my arms at home.
You're the first on their list. Arms are gone.
Even the non-believers, the ones that are skeptics, say, "Well, I don't believe in ghosts, but this one time." And it's like, well, that's the thing. So there's your story.
I feel like this is philosophical, but the older I get, the more I go, I can't count anything out at this point.
True, right?
Unless you're just a guy who knows it all, omniscient Skip. The ghosts are going to get you soon. And we'll do a follow-up to that.
Well, we always look. There's two sides to every coin, and I think it's great what you're bringing to our city. And Albuquerque is fun, and it's up and coming, and people are starting to find out about it. But there is a negative stigmatism about... Stigmatism?
No, that's what I have for these on.
Stigmata.
Stigma. Negative stigma about Albuquerque. And that, we do have some business owners that have had problems with crime, with violence, with
ghosts.
Things. So what are some of the things about our city, that you've made an adjustment in your business to kind of overcome?
The thing is, we've, on the trolley tour, and it's been an issue, the past few years, it's gotten really, really bad, but with just, we're driving through the streets of Albuquerque. You get downtown, we're showing off the city to these out-of-towners who, to get them to come to Albuquerque over places is already difficult. And then they're downtown and there's people in the streets that are, shouting at them, they're yelling things, or they're seeing homelessness, which our tour guides have had to, be trained on how to deal with that sort of stuff. Or you pull up and there's a bus stop and there's people abusing and shouting, and you just, what do you do?
I think we could reframe this. I think you should take the city council on the old tour.
If
you don't think this is an issue, everyone line up here. See how long you can stay here.
That's a great idea, and I think we have reached out to Mayor Keller's administration, or if not, we're doing it now, so they can actually see through like a visitor's eyes, the reaction they're seeing as and a lot of times it's great. Most of the time it's great, but there are times where it just gets really, really difficult.
We'll see how fast they can pedal out of this.
Yeah.
Okay, we get it. Get us out of here.
We started the trolley company, Mike and I, because we love the city. We both grew up here. And I guess we grew up, in high school, everybody's like, "Oh, Albuquerque sucks. There's nothing to do here." And I think people have that sentiment about their hometown all across America.
We say this almost every episode. We say we like the yes people. We like the ones that go, it will work, it can, and then partake and put their money towards it and do something about the problem. And there's so many no people. I like the stubborn, yes, it can work, and then illustrate it and you flourish. So I applaud stuff like that, because there's so many people that just, it will never work, and that's not how we get
it's like, do something, so we did something. There was nothing showing off the
I like
city.
he's mad too.
So
I got him like, we feel the same way. Just shut up.
Yeah.
I don't want to hear any more no's.
And now we're committed and stuck here to an extent. So you've got to make it work.
I agree.
We've got deep roots here with the businesses.
Do something locally, right? Always.
Dude, what a great story, man. And I appreciate you bringing some knowledge about our city, the history, and kind of giving back and making a difference.
Thank you. Really, genuinely, thank you.
Come on the tour.
We will.
Come to happy hour. Come try our beer. We're making good beer.
Make a believer out of you, ghost guy.
Relax, guy. Wait, so are you IPA guy, or you like more of a dark?
Both, but IPA all day.
He likes any booze.
Oh, on that note, thank you, Jesse. Thank you for coming in. We'll have links to all of your business endeavors and Instagram on our website.
Thank you. Another interesting guest. Another one. Follow-up episode for sure. Here's why you're going to want to stay tuned. It's everybody's favorite Skip's Tips. This is all about you. Mark, are we not doing the sound effect? We're already... Season 5, Segment 3, Skip's Tips is on the way. Cue it.
Oh, yeah.
That's right, it's Skip's Tips. Anything that saves us time, makes us more money, or allows us to have more fun in real estate or in real life. Your home's condition speaks volumes about you. Here's what I mean. Recently, I was touring a $1 million home here in Albuquerque, which is kind of a big deal considering our median home price is closer to $400,000. But in that home, I saw some things that I did not expect to see in a home in this price point. Unmade beds, spider webs in the corners, dirty dishes in the sink. If you're a homeowner, your home is your most important asset. And the condition that you have it in speaks volumes about it, especially when you go to sell it. Homes that are staged, clean, and smell fresh are gonna sell for a lot more money because it instills confidence in a buyer. Nothing screams, hey, lowball us on this house than unmade beds, dirty floors, and just all around who gives a shit attitude towards your property. So whether it's a $1 million home or a first-time home buyer condo, take some pride in your property, have it staged correctly, and really just make it an experience for the buyer. It's gonna end up getting you more money and more offers on your property, which in turn will get the property sold faster. For more tips on how to get your home staged and ready for market, just reach out. Share this with a friend and tell them Skip said so.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Hey, so by the way, are we going to do this follow-up episode at some point?
You're the one that decided to have kids and abandon this friendship. And let me tell you something. I've known him for a long time, and all of a sudden this kid comes and he barely knows her, right? You have two girls, and then that's it. It's the end of the friendship. And I don't know. Could you trust him?
Yeah, the guy has 2 arms. Whatever that means.
Boo!
Every Wednesday night, Sunday morning, and then every other day.
What other days we have, Mark? Let's hear it from the background. Mark, what other days?
I believe it's Saturday, Sunday, and Wednesday.
Saturday, Sunday, Wednesday.
Sunday,
The
Saturday.
Gravedigger. What's the other one? Gravedigger, Bigfoot. I like the monster truck voice guy. Don't you wish you were
Why
like him?
don't we have Mark as introduced as this monster truck guy?
Mark, can you
Anyways.
do monster truck noises? Or hey, Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Thanks for tuning in. This is All About You, ABQ.
Cars hate them.
You're watching You, ABQ.